Hello, John here again, and here we are in another video in the community game development series, and this one is about Git. Yeah, end of video. Nice seeing you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the basics of how to use Git locally on your machine. I was introduced to Git 2 years ago, and now the company's using it big style, so having to learn all the advanced functions, but all the local functions I've managed to bumble along for the last 2 years. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use it locally and use it as a backup repository for all your code. And what I mean by that is I'll show you in a second. So I've already shown you how to install Git on your development environment because we did it for the Derek Morris series. So I'm not going to go through that again, just reference the video that I've already done. So what I've got is, for once, I'm using Linux to start off. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a small program, go and initiate a GitHub store repo, and then use the basic functions of Git, and which will allow you then so you can keep track of your software changes, and also it backs it up. It sort of inherently backs it up. So what you need is Studio Code, which we already know we've already got. Let it wake up on this VM, and because I'm in Linux, oops, oh, it looks like I've had an update. Yes, I did. And because I'm using Linux, I'm going to make sure that Git's still installed. So you just type in Git, and yet we get all the commands. Now, Git is a command line system, so you could use all the command lines if you want, but I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for us. So when we do start doing our community project, Neptune Land, the forthcoming Hunchback project, I want us to be able to use Git effectively in conjunction with GitHub, which we'll do in a different video because it's slightly different. But I just wanted to be able to show you how you can use this on your local machine. And so if you've already got it installed, great stuff. If you haven't, just go and look at the video that I did before and just follow the instructions. There's both Linux and Windows on there. It's using Visual Studio Code as the IDE. If you don't want to use Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text I think has a extension to log into GitHub, Git, or you can learn all the command line functions and you can use it through the terminal or the command box. So what I do is I have something that's called my source code, and then in there would be all my repositories. Yeah. So we're going to create another one. I'm going to create a folder in here, and we're going to call it my demo repo. Alright, and then we're going to open that in Visual Studio Code. So let's get rid of that and get rid of that and say open folder, source code, my demo repo. Okay, so there we go. Now let's put a file in there. Where's my test file? There it is. Let's just copy that out. Right, so we'll create a new file. I hope. File. No folder open. Open folder. Okay. Here we go. File. My test.asm. And then we'll paste the code in. So there we go. Change it to kick because I've got a 8086 on it. And there's our first program. Control F5. Dead easy. There we go. Simple but effective. Now, you guys are probably thinking, well, how are you going to make that into a repository? Well, this is the thing. You see, Microsoft have tried their utmost best to make this work with Git, because they bought GitHub for $6 billion or something like that. And so they're heavily investing into the Git and the Git philosophy. So what they've done is they've created this icon here, which is called source control. And if you click on it, it will fire up the source control extension. But as you can see, this isn't. And the reason being is because we haven't initialized the repository. And so it's very easy. So what you do, you just click initialize repository and boom, done. So we can now, for example, edit this and be able to, like it says here, I think it's which is untracked. Here we go. So these files are untracked. And the way Git works is you've got three states of files. You've got untracked, four states. Untracked, modified, I'm counting on my fingers here, staged and committed. And they're your four states. So untracked means that it's a file that is not it's a file in your repo directory, but Git doesn't know about it. It's going, oh, I've got a file here, but I'm not bothered with it. Modified are files that are monitored by Git, and it shows you whether you've modified it compared to the one that it's got in its repository. Staged is that you can put files into an area and have a few or a load of files that are in that area, so you can do what was known as a commit, where you commit all those changes to the repository. So your staging area can have either one file in or hundreds of files in, and you can commit in batches. So you could have a batch of files, or you could have a batch of one. Typically, I think it's 10 or 15 files, I think, at the most when doing anything. So what we've got here in this source control section is we have where you can toggle the different views. So you can have just the changes view, or you can have the actual folder view. The changes view basically shows you all the files that have been changed and that are different to what it knows or doesn't know in the repo. This allows you to commit files to the repository, and we'll do that in a bit. This allows you to refresh, and then this here has got all the other commands that you can do in Git. So you can do pull, push, sync, checkout, commit to staged, undo. If you make a mistake, you can undo the last commit. You can discard all the changes. That means all the changes that haven't been staged. You can stage all the changes. That means put them into the area before you commit them. Or you can unstage them all. So all the files that you've got in the staging, you could put them back as modified. So you could undo the staging. And then there's some more which I'm not quite sure about, and I'll be honest. So, in this environment, you also come down here and you've got this. And your repo, when you initialize it, will always be master. That is your master repo. And that is meant to hold your core source code, for want of a better word, of the application. Because the way you would use this is you would branch and then remerge. But we're not going to do branching. It's a bit more complicated. That can be for another video. This is just basically to understand the basic concepts of Git. So we have 4 files here. Now, I don't want this in my repo. I don't want this in my repo. And I don't want this in my repo. So what you can do is you can right click on it and we should be able to add to the Git Ignore file. So let's do that. And we'll add this one to the Git Ignore file. And we'll add this one to the Git Ignore file. And what that does, as you can see here, is it just adds the files that I want Git not to look after or monitor and version control. Now there's a quick way of doing this. We can just do that, do this, and do star. And then all that lot should disappear. There we go. So that's saying anything in the bin directory, I don't want to know. So close that. And so what's left now, as you can see, that is grayed out now, which means it's not controlled by Git. And now this file will be, but it's untracked. Remember, my repository is currently empty. Yeah, there is nothing in it. Let me see if I can show you. I think it's Git status. There what? There is nothing in there. There's only some untracked files that it's not bothered about. So what we can do is, if you want a file to be tracked in the repo, you need to add it. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on that, and we're going to click this button which says stage the change. That one is open, yeah. So click add. That has now added it into stage changes, and now Git is now monitoring it because it now knows about it. So now it's classed it as a added file. This is a new file that it's not seen before, and it's classed it as an added file. And so now we've put it in the stages staging area, we could add more files in there and stuff like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit this file to the repo because I want to have no staged information. So what you do to do a commit, you have to give it a comment. So this is initial commit, and you put the comment in that best defines and describes that commit, and then you press the tick, and there we go. So now this Git Ignore file we could actually add to Git Ignore. There we go. And so it's saying now I've got no changes, so we can go back to the folder view and come back to here. Now, because I've now committed, I should be able to do git status and it'll tell me nothing to commit. Yep, because there isn't, because everything is committed and I ain't changed anything. So I think there's a command where you can list. Hang on. I think it's git show. There we go. So in the initial commit, I added a file called test.asm, and this is what was in it. Right. So that's what's currently in my repo. So if I can grab this and bring it back down again. So what I'm going to do now is I want to change it. So I'm going to say put that in, and then we're going to do decrease do to 1. And straight away, look, there's an M in my, and it's saying that it's a modified file. This has been modified, so if I save it, has it been saved? Save, yes. This is now a modified file against my repository. So if we go into source control and just click on the file, there you go, it's showing what was before, what it knows about, and what you've got it right now. So it's saying that I've added a line into here, which is true, I have. So shall we run it? So we should be able to run it. Control F5. There we go. Whoa, a bit hard on the eyes, that is. And then we can, if we want to, we can say stage the change, and then we'll commit it. So here we go, changed background color to. Click the tick, and that's now added it to my repo. There you go. So I think, is there a, no, thought there's a thing that we can see it, but it must be a thingy command. Right, so I want to make another change. So this time we're going to say increase that, get rid of that, and this time I want to, oh, I'm making a right hash of this, aren't I? So this time I want to go LDY hash 0 STY $0500, Y and INY branch not equal to looper. So I'll put a label in here. That's it. So this is basically going to go round and round and constantly change the background characters. So that's saved. So if we go now going to GitHub, we can see that it's changed, and if we click on it, then it's going now. It says, look, it's telling me I've removed these two files, which technically I have, because that file, that line here used to be down here. So it thinks that it's, well, in fact, yeah, he's right. It's right. Deck DO21 is no longer there. And this lot is all new stuff, and this lot has changed, has been removed. And as you can see from here, you can see a rough outline of what's been added and what's not been added. So I'm going to commit this. Added character screen generator. Click commit. Yes, that's saying that I haven't staged it. So it's asking me, do I want to stage it before commit it? And the answer was yes. So now my repo is exactly the same. So if I run this, Control F5. Oh, I need to be in there. Control F5. Oh, what's going on? Oh. Oh dear. John, such a plank. Such a plank. Right, this is a good one. What's changed? Oh, John, you're a plank. Changed my error. Okay. Shamefully, yes. Do it for me. Quick, before anybody sees it. So I can get rid of that. And Control F5, and it will work this time. Well, I don't care about that. Whatever. Let's go in there. Oh, what is going on now? C64. Oh, how many copies have I got on? Right. Let's try again. No default output device detected. That's annoying. It's better. What is it going on about? Anyway, let's go back. Store A in 0500, Y, branch if not equal back to there. Okay, we'll do a CPY just to be safe. Right, Control F5. What is going on? Right, don't know what's going on. Let's run it, make it run in Vice. Goodbye. Right, Control F5. There we go. Oops. I'm going to say I didn't shut it down. No, it's still going. It's how do I, oh, it's closed. Problem reported to Ubuntu. Right. Let's go. Control F5. How do I get stupid. Right. Which emulator was I running? X64. Vic +4 pet 64 128, so it's that one. Oh, not again. What is wrong with it? Oh well. I'm sure somebody will tell me what my problem is. Oh dear. It says it did it. Tell you what, let me reboot. And we're back. Right, it's working now. There must have been an update in the background that's thrown a spanner. Anyway, so this file has now not been committed to source control. So we can go in here, click on it, see what we've changed. So we've added this stat. We can say, right, stage it for me. And then we can say put test for page boundary. Click the tip and away it's gone. So that's the file in the repo. And except for the mess up, that's basically it now. So the way to, if you want to back up, and remember Git is recording everything now. I can show you by going in here, my demo. So if we, can you see hidden files in here? Show hidden. There we go. So this is the Git repo database that it reads. And all this lot is got, so there's branches, which we haven't got one, we haven't got any. And this has all the information required for the Git process to work. So if I go in here and do Git status now, terminal, Git status, there should be, okay, Git shell then. There should be lots of different commits, and there are a lot. So this is a commit. This is the unique identifier for a commit. So we've got that one. Then we've got this one, and so there's two in there. So it must only show the last two. Okay, that's fair enough. But this will record every change. And then the way to back it up is you literally just go to your directory and you just copy the directory and move it elsewhere. And that's how you can back up. And it will back up all your commits as well from the repo database. And all I will say is, if you use Git, you no longer have to do this where you're recording, you're zipping up the code before you modify it just in case you screw it up. Now there are extensions that allow you to see much more in this repo, and I think it's called Git Lens or something. Yeah, Git Lens. See, there's a thing here for viewing your history and stuff like that. So let's install Git Lens. Welcome to Git Lens. Okay, what does it do for us then? Ooh, new icon. Here we go. So there's all my commits, look. For this file, there's all my commits. So there's the initial one, and it shows you it. Then I changed the background, and it's showing you the differences between in that commit. Then we added that, and then we added this. So there you go, Git Lens. This allows you to interrogate your repository, and at the moment we've got only the master. Yeah, we haven't got any branches. There shouldn't be any branches in there, which is just the master and the master only. We don't have any contributors except for me. Incoming activity, remotes. We'll be talking about that when we start connecting to GitHub. And don't know about these, but I'm sure some guys will be teaching me how to do it. Oh, I'll keep this Git Lens. It's pretty impressive. So you can compare. Oh right, okay. See, I'm learning stuff. So there's a nice extension that allows you to see your changes that you've got in your repo. Alright, but that's the main source control for Visual Studio with this as an extension. Right, 33 minutes. I thought this was only going to be a 10-minute job. Dear me. Oh dear me. Anyway. So that's the basics of Git. So creating files, modifying files, adding files to the repo, initializing the repo to make it something that you can use, staging, commit. Oh, I didn't show you uncommit. So we could uncommit this. Let's see, uncommit. Oh, it's not there, is it? Hang on, see if Git Lens will do an uncommit. So right click, so open changes, copy commit ID, apply changes. Oh, okay, can't uncommit. But I think you can do it by the command line. Unless I'm in the wrong place. I don't know. What's this? Open changes with working file. Oh, it's because they're both the same. Let's try this one. That's different. Right, see if I can do an uncommit. Apply changes. I wonder if that's it. I don't know. Oh, 36 minutes. So that's the basics of having your own local repo. As you can see, I just use it to store all my changes. Commit my changes to the repo, do the editing, commit more changes. We'll go into branching next time, where you can take a copy of your source code as it is from the master at that point, make a branch, and then you can edit your code on that branch, which doesn't affect your core code in the master branch. And then when you're happy with your changes in your branch, you can then re-merge them back into the master branch. So we'll go into that later in a later video, and same with using GitHub to do the collaboration work online. Alright, so with that, I will say, if you like this video, then click that like button. If you didn't like the video, fine, hit the dislike button. Always leave me a comment, as I try to answer them all. And if you like what I do and you would like to support me, please consider becoming a patron of mine. All the money raised in Patreon is used in this channel. And with that, I'll say see you in the next video. Take care. Bye. I'd like to thank all the patrons that are contributing to my channel. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now. Thank you very much.